Hey there, and welcome to SI Now. It's Monday, December 12th, and I'm Ryan Asselta, along with Super Bowl champ Chris Canty. And we've got a great show in store for you today. Olympic gold medalist Aly Raisman stops by. But we begin with our deep dive into the NFL from Canty's Corner. In Week 14, Chris, almost in the books. One game left. That's tonight in Foxborough, where the Patriots are going to host the Ravens. We're going to get to that, get Chris's thoughts on that big game. But first, let's take a look at some of the other big storylines from the weekend, and we start in New York, where the Giants put an end to the Cowboys' win streak. It stops at 11 games. What was it about the way they found success really containing Dak Prescott, Dez Bryant, and to an extent, Ezekiel Elliott?
Well, the New York Giants' run front was able to contain Ezekiel Elliott. They were able to slow that down by bringing an extra defender in the box, Landon Collins, dropping down to that linebacker level, and that really filled all of the gaps. Now, the guys that did the job were Janoris Jenkins and Eli Apple, the cornerbacks on the edges of the defense, being able to hold up in one-on-one coverage against Terrence Williams, against Dez Bryant, and against Cole Beasley. That was the difference in the game. By allowing all of those guys to be in the box, they were able to slow down Ezekiel Elliott, keep the Dallas Cowboys offense off schedule. They were able to steal possessions with some takeaways and ultimately win time of possession, the formula that the Dallas Cowboys have been using to win games all season. And I think ultimately that was the difference. They created short fields for their offense. And of course, that culminated in the touchdown pass from Eli Manning to Odell Beckham Jr., the one big play in the game. And that was enough to be able to get the victory over the division rival Dallas Cowboys.
Who were your MVPs from the Canty Bowl?
Well, I got to start with the defensive end, Romeo Okwara, filling in for JPP with the sports hernia injury. He was all over the field. He led the team in tackles with 8 tackles. He added a sack to that. Even made some plays in pass coverage, making a tackle on Lance Dunbar out of the backfield as a receiver. So really impressed by what the young guys bringing to the table. You know, when you're able to get those pressure on the quarterback, make it uncomfortable for them, that's when you can force mistakes and force turnovers, and they did enough of that last night.
No break for these teams. Giants take on the Lions in Week 15. Cowboys again on Sunday Night Football. They take on the red-hot Bucks. All right, let's move on to our next topic here. The Miami's playoff hopes may sink with Ryan Tannehill's injury. Dolphins win a big one over the Cardinals in the downpour down in Miami, but playoff picture-wise, it came at a steep price. Quarterback Ryan Tannehill left the game with a knee injury. It's reportedly a torn ACL. Chris, Miami in the middle of this AFC playoff picture, but Matt Moore looks like he's going to be the guy at QB. Can they stay in this playoff picture with Moore running the show?
No, they absolutely can, and Adam Gase has this group playing with a lot of confidence, and their formula has been being able to turn around and hand the ball off to Jay Ajayi. They're going to continue to do that, probably more so now with the backup quarterback in, but Matt Moore is no slouch. He's played in a lot of football games, 25 career starts. He's played in over 40 career games, so this guy knows what he's doing. He's been around. He was actually a teammate of mine when I was playing for the Dallas Cowboys, so you know I've seen the arm talent up close and personal. He's a guy that can make a lot of throws. Can't make all of the throws, but he doesn't have to, because Adam Gase is going to shrink the playbook. He's only going to give him things that he can handle, things that he can manage. He's not going to allow Matt Moore to lose the game. Just manage it, turn around, hand the ball off to Jay Ajayi, and lean on that talented offensive line.
All right, let's move on. We got a big one on Monday Night Football up in Foxborough this week. Week 14 is going to wrap up tonight. Patriots host the Ravens. This is a Baltimore team, has had some success going into Gillette Stadium and beating the Patriots in the past. Will Baltimore, Chris, be able to go up there and pull off the upset again?
I think it's a little overstated that team goes up to Foxborough and has a lot of success in Gillette Stadium. They're 1-5 in the Harbaugh era against the New England Patriots in the regular season. 3-5 if you add in those postseason
That's
games.
You're throwing the playoff wins.
I'm just saying, if you want to go that route. But listen, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, it's hard to bet against those guys at home in Foxborough. Tough environment to play. It'll be cold. It's going to be one of those physical games. But I think the Patriots have enough on the offensive side of the ball to give the Baltimore Ravens defense some trouble. This Patriots offense still has a lot of weapons. They're still explosive. Bill Belichick will do what he needs to do, adapt his system to take advantage of the deficiencies with the Baltimore Ravens defense.
Let's say the Ravens have been better than most up in Foxborough.
They've been better than most. That's a better way of putting it.
All right, let's move on. Our last topic, the NFL lets the air out of Deflategate 2. Chris, Sunday began with a Fox report claiming that the Giants had filed a complaint against the Steelers after their Week 13 game, accusing Pittsburgh of underinflating footballs. Now, within an hour of the report, the league responded to the Jay Glazer report, stating, quote, the officiating game ball procedures were followed and there were no chain of command issues. All footballs were in compliance and no formal complaint was filed by the Giants with our office. I want to welcome in our SI legal analyst and authority on all things Deflategate. SI's Michael McCann joins us now. And Michael, the NFL responded very quickly after this report. Is this a little bit of hypocrisy on the part of the league after what happened with the Patriots and the amount of time that investigation took?
Yeah, Ryan, I think there's an element of hypocrisy of the fact. I mean, just the league's response, I think, invites that kind of critique, right? First of all, they use the word formal complaint, that phrase. Well, was there any complaint, I would ask? Formal complaint sounds like there was no actual inquiry that was officially made. But if there was any inquiry, that gets back to what Deflategate was about, which was allegations the Patriots were doing something that of course, ultimately were not proven out by science, many would say. But I would also add, when the league says that the balls were in compliance, there were no chain of custody issues, that again doesn't address were the footballs underinflated at whatever point of the game the footballs were in fact measured. So look, I think the league learned its lesson and it doesn't want to have another Deflategate. So I suspect that was part of the thinking as well. I think Deflategate is one of those singular controversies that no one wants to see replicated, and I think people have had enough of it, and I'm sure league officials did. And although on technical grounds the league ultimately won because of the collective bargaining agreement, I think it was a victory that many said had great cost for the NFL, for the commissioner himself. The idea of going back to that again in any context, I think, would be unwelcome by all interest groups.
Michael McCann, thanks so much for being with us. Chris, what do you think when you hear Deflategate? You wake up Sunday morning and there it is, a new Deflategate report. What went through your mind right now?
It makes my ears hurt. I don't want to hear about more Deflategate stuff. This is an issue that the NFL should have nipped in the bud. This shouldn't come back around to be another problem, and yet it is. I don't think the NFL has adequately addressed the issues in terms of making sure you protect the integrity of the game, make sure you protect the footballs. Now, you start talking about the PSI and the footballs. We're not necessarily talking about footballs that are underinflated to the degree that the Patriots balls were reported back during the 2014 season. I'm more apt to quickly dismiss this one and let's move past this and get back to what's important, which is December football in the playoff hunt for all of these teams.
Partner, thank you. We will see you again on Friday. All right, well, no doubt one of the highlights in this summer's sports scene was the American women's gymnastics team's performance in Rio. For Aly Raisman, the gold medal in the team event was her second, capping off a decorated run which began back in 2012. Earlier, Maggie was joined by Aly, who reflected on going gold back-to-back.
Aly, when you compete in an Olympics twice, when you make it to the medal podium as many times as you have in women's gymnastics, you get to another stratosphere of recognition and fame. Have you noticed that since you've gotten back from Rio?
I mean, it's very crazy because I look up to so many incredible athletes. And so, like, when I meet them, like I met LeBron like 2 months ago, and I didn't even have to introduce myself to him. I went to introduce myself, and he already said he knew who I was, and my parents came in to meet him too, and he knew who they were because he's a parent too, so he said he could relate to them. And then, meeting Serena Williams, and I was with my teammates, and she said she watched us, and I remember when we were in Rio, Serena posted a video of Simone and I, and we were both freaking out because we thought it was the coolest thing that she knew who we were. It's just amazing to meet so many people you look up to, and they know who we are, so it's very crazy.
And your peers with them, I mean, they're champions, Olympic champions and champions. You're an Olympic champion many times. Do you ever have the moment where you feel like, I made it?
I mean, I guess a little bit. I try to give myself credit. I mean, as an athlete, I'm always very hard on myself, but now I'm kind of taking a step back and saying that I'm very proud of what I've accomplished. I've surpassed my expectations of what I thought I could do, so it's really, really surreal. And just to have so many athletes reach out and congratulate us, I think that we're all so, just surprised with how supportive everyone's been. It's been amazing, and it just doesn't feel real at all. It really doesn't. It's crazy to me still.
Still hasn't sunk
No,
in
not
about
at all.
what you guys were able to achieve. It was incredible. And when you guys, and by you guys I mean the Final Five, came to New York after Rio, I asked you all the question about Tokyo in 2020. Now, you just said you exceeded all the expectations that you have. Is there anything left to prove? I mean, at the time you said you want to compete in 2020.
Well, I feel like I've done everything I've always wanted to. So I think that being said, in 2012, I wanted to come back because I wanted that all-around medal, and now I have it. So I think that, being able to train and to have the expectation that I've already done everything I can, but let's see like how I can do more. I think that will be really cool, and maybe I'll feel less pressure on myself. Of course, competing for USA, there's a lot of pressure, but I think that maybe it's kind of like the icing on top of the cake. Like I'll be able to enjoy it and take it all in more, because no matter what happens, I know that I've done everything that I could have ever wanted to.
Simone Biles wrote a book recently, and she writes a passage about the two of you,
Yeah.
where right before you're about to compete in Rio, she said you came out of the bathroom and you were like white as a ghost.
Yeah.
And you looked sick, and you said you were just so nervous. Do you remember what that time was like?
Before I would compete, they would keep us in this tunnel for like what it felt like forever, but it was just a few minutes just to make sure we walked out at the exact time, make sure everything's on schedule. And I remember I felt like I was going to throw up. So before we got to that tunnel, I remember I was in the bathroom with Simone, and we were both like looking at each other, and we were both just like, we barely even had to say anything. We were both just like, oh my God, like we're about to compete. It was the first day of competition. And when you think about the Olympics, you want it to be like a perfect warm up and a perfect day. And so it wasn't really going that well. So I think we were all just like, okay, we got to relax. We're so prepared. And so we kind of got it out of our system in the warm up gym. Then we got out, we were like, okay, let's just enjoy it. We're at the Olympics. Let's just do everything we can. And we've already done everything we can. Let's just go out and enjoy it.
It's funny that you say that Simone is the one who's usually calm.
Yes.
Because
she's she's before she competes, she's so hyper. I don't know where she gets all her energy from.
So recently, a fan reposted a certain Vine that I'm sure you've seen.
That was so cool.
This is after you sent her a text message when you guys were not even Olympic teammates at this point, and this was
Before
Simone's response. Can we see this? What was going through your mind when you saw that video?
Well, I don't know. I've never seen that video before. I can't believe I've never seen it. But I said immediately, I was like, I'm basically Zac Efron, because that was the same reaction she had. So I want him to see the video so he knows I'm just as cool as him. But it was really funny because, I was actually in the room when Zac Efron tweeted at her for the first time, and she had that same reaction. And she was freaking out. And I didn't know that she had the same reaction when I texted her. So she saw a fan post, and then she texted me. And it was just so funny. I mean, she's like still has braces on. It was from so long ago. She looks like a little baby, but it's really sweet.
Is there someone who would cause you to have that Simone freaks out about Zac Efron moment?
I'm trying to think. I'm sure there is. I feel like when I meet people, I get really excited, but I try to play it cool. But I think that just like meeting, athletes for me is like the coolest thing ever. There's been so many times where I've met someone and I like, but in the moment, I think you kind of just try to act really cool, because you have to think that like everyone always freaks out. That's why I was like, Simone, I was like, you got to play it cool, because Zac Efron is used to girls freaking out around him all the time. So I'm like, you'll stand out if you're the one girl that's like very calm and like, so then after that, she's very cool. Like they FaceTimed and stuff before, and she's very like, keeps it together.
It seems like she's over it.
Yeah,
now,
she's just like, she got
like
that out of her
another
system.
fan.
Yeah, now it's just a friend, like whatever.
So a few days ago, you kind of lit social media on fire when you posted a photo of you wearing a diamond ring.
Yeah.
Here it is. Aly, people went absolutely nuts about this.
I didn't like even think anything of it.
Were you surprised?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought the ring was just so big, and I was like, this is so amazing. So it was this beautiful yellow diamond, and I was actually at David Ortiz's charity events. They were auctioning it off, and I was like, I wish I could have bought it for the charity, but it was just so expensive. My dad would have killed me. But I just posted it because I thought it was really beautiful, and it was just cool. But I didn't expect it to be like a big thing.
Oh my God, the day when you actually do get engaged, I feel like all of our phones are just gonna collectively blow up. But you actually have a passion for jewelry, something we didn't know about.
Yeah, so I mean, when I compete, I always wear patriotic earrings, because we're only allowed to wear earrings, just because when you're doing bars and flipping around, you just can't have other jewelry on. And I've always loved it. I think like growing up with my grandmother and my mom, I always wanted to try on their jewelry and stuff. So I think it has a deeper meaning than just a fashion piece. It's also a sentimental value. So I've recently started working with Piercing Pagoda and Heartful Hands. So it's all of their jewelry is in the like two hands coming together for a heart, just to kind of spread the message of spreading the love and being kind to one another. And I think, for a grandmother, to give that to their grandkid or their daughter is really special, because it's, you know, I think kids these days need to learn to be more loving and more supportive. I hope with, you know, social media is great because you can spread that message, but then it also can kind of have a negative part to it too. So hopefully when people wear the jewelry, they can look down and see the heart and be inspired to remember to be nice and be appreciative and be respectful to one another.
That's fantastic. Of course, you can find more details on Piercing Pagoda and the Heartful Hands collection by going to pagoda.com. It is so great to see you again.
Thank you.
Congratulations
Thank you for having
again
me
on all your success.
Thank you.
And beautiful stuff there.
Thank you.
All right, our next guest has been attending San Francisco Giants games since 1967. His loyalty and passion towards the Giants has earned him the prestigious title of Fan-Sided Fan of the Year. Dave Edlund, welcome to SI Now, and congratulations on being the Fan-Sided Fan of the Year. We've got a little hardware for you.
All right.
Take a look at that.
Woo! Yeah.
You got the full gear on as well. You are a true San Francisco Giants fan.
I definitely am, and this is an honor. Thank you guys so much.
Oh, it is a great honor for you. I know this. You started watching the Giants way back when Hank Aaron was on the team. Willie Mays, they both hit home runs in the first game you saw. What's your favorite memory when you think back all these years? Does a memory stick out as your favorite Giants memory?
I've been a fan since '67, and mainly a radio listener. In the old days and stuff, you listen to the games on the radio and stuff. And but I have to say that the home runs, basically the last I'd say the plays of the last 5 years for the Giants are the ones that are kind of the most exciting for me. You know, the Ishikawa walk-off home run to basically win the NLCS for us, the Barry Bonds home runs were all very special to me. When Barry Bonds played for the Giants, the excitement in McCovey Cove, where I hang out, was at an all-time high. And every time he was at bat, it was electric for us. So even when Barry Bonds didn't hit a home run, it was an exciting moment.
Is that chance of the ball coming out to McCovey Cove, as you mentioned, where you spend your time at AT&T Park. You're known as McCovey Cove Dave. You've got so many balls out there. On weekends, could be 20, 30, 40 kayakers out there, Dave. How competitive, how testy can it get sometimes getting after those balls?
It's very competitive. When a ball is in the air and it takes 5 seconds for them to reach the water from the bat, it becomes crazy. It's every person for themselves for those 5 seconds. Until someone has the ball in their hand or in their net, it's fair game. And I train for this, year-round. I basically pride myself in being a very fast kayaker, and I'm actually a kind of a sabermetric statistics kayaker. So I actually try to predict where the home run is going to land and also what day. And so I do a chef for every player to try to be in the right spot. It does work on average, and it gives me an advantage.
Yeah, tell me about that strategy. You really do map this out as to being, so much about it is timing and being at the right place at the right time. You're taking steps to make sure you are in the right place at the right time, right?
Definitely. Everything matters. Even the pitcher, 90% of the home runs that reach the cove are hit off right-handed pitchers. So if it's a lefty-lefty start, it's probably not a good day to be out there because it's harder to hit with power off a left-handed pitcher to right field. So I use all these things, air temperature, wind. Now with the numbers revolution in baseball, I can look at every home run a player's ever hit. I draw a scattergram and I look for concentrations of home runs. And what happens on average is that players hit them in the same spot as they've hit them in the past. And that's where I go. And then you need to be lucky, you need to be alert. And I have a few other secret techniques that give me advantage, but it's a lot of fun. If you love baseball like I do, it's a great place to be.
You don't want to let the other kayakers know in on your secrets here, Dave.
I've just told you some of them, not all of them.
Hey, you prepare more than Madison Bumgarner probably does for a start at AT&T Park. Very impressive. Who have you had the most success catching home run balls off of over your career?
I actually have 6 home runs for Pablo Sandoval, and Pablo liked to hit him in one area, so I took advantage of that, being in that spot, and at the time, he really, after Barry Bonds, is the #2 left-handed power hitter that played at the park. So I have 6 from him, including, actually, one of my favorite home runs was his first one. It was hit on the 50th anniversary of Willie McCovey's Major League Baseball debut, and that made it special. It was Panda's first, and it celebrated Willie McCovey, my favorite player growing up.
Oh, man, such great memories, great memorabilia that you continue to pull right there out of the water. Overall, fan of the year, when you think about your loyalty to your San Francisco Giants, what does it mean to you to be a San Francisco Giants fan?
It's a special franchise. There's no doubt about it and stuff. The fans of the Giants, although there's lots of other good teams, it's special to San Francisco Giants. Actually, one of the reasons why I got this award, obviously, was that I got a lot of votes, and that Giants fans are very supportive of their own, and I'm very grateful for all the votes that they passed into fan-sided voting for me. But it's a great franchise. I believe that it's the best park in all of Major League Baseball. I go to a place where the tickets are free, and if you go there enough, you're almost guaranteed to get a home run over time. And if you love the game, to catch a game home run at a historical place, it's a real thrill.
All those votes well-deserved. Dave Edlund, you are the fan-sided fan of the year. Congratulations to you, and thanks so much for joining us here on SI Now.
Thank you so much.
And that's going to do it for this Monday episode of SI Now. We'll see you back here tomorrow when we'll be joined by Denver Broncos linebacker and Super Bowl 50 MVP Von Miller. It all happens at 1 p.m. Eastern. Until then, stick with SI.com, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter at SI Now Live. Have a great afternoon.